Hello YouTube, this is Froogle. It's bright and early on a Sunday morning, just before the news show goes out actually. I tend to record the news shows on Fridays, and they actually go out at 11 AM Eastern Time on a Sunday. My ritual on a Sunday is actually fix the sim. I don't know about you guys, but what I find more often than not is that every time I fire up something like Prepared or FSX, and I haven't done it in a while, like a week, not even months, but a week, then everything needs updating, nothing works, it's a pain in the bottom. So Sunday mornings tend to be my ritual for fix the sim. But before I dive into that, on the last vlog, people said, how do you set up a Razer Orbweaver, a keypad, to do all the views? What exactly do you do, Froogle? So I thought I'd show you that first, and then I'm going to try and fix my sim and just chat. But this is Razer Synapse software. It controls all my Razer devices. So I only have two. I have the Stargazer plugged in there, which is probably not going to work. The Stargazer is so unreliable. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Look, there's no video feed at all, but the camera is actually right in front of me. Who knows? And there's the Orbweaver. Now the Orbweaver, you've seen these, I'm sure. It's a button pad that goes in your left hand. I don't know if there's a right-handed version, but it's a left-handed thing, and it has a set of buttons on it, and you can program the buttons, and you can create profiles. So I've got a profile here for FSX joystick. I've got one for editing my videos. I've got a Black Shark 2 profile. And what you can do with these things is you can make a profile, you can link it to a program. So when that program fires up, the profile will automatically load into the Orbweaver, and all the buttons will work as they should. And within each profile, you have all these key maps, 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 8. Which means I can set up 8 different configurations, and I can switch configs with either a button or all sorts of other stuff. But what I do for my views is very, very simple. These are the buttons that I use on the Orbweaver to manage my views, be it in Easy Dock or Chase Plane. And all I do is, you can see this is called FSX joystick. On each of these buttons, they are assigned here, button assignment, to a joystick button number. Simple as that. That's all I do. The reason I do that, now you can, with these programmable keypads, there's a Logitech one as well, and there's a couple from Razer now. There's the Orbweaver, there's, I can't remember it, but there's a few now from Razer. What you can do is you can assign these things to keys if you want. So I can set this button here to be a keyboard function, and I can press a key, or I can make it a macro, or I can do all sorts of other stuff, but I tend to set them up as, for my views at least, as joystick buttons, because it then doesn't conflict with anything in the sim, right? What I used to do is like this button here, this one right here, goes to the previous view in the current category. It cycles views. This is the next view in the current category. This one down here is the external view. So switch from category to category. And I used to have this as Shift A, this is A, and this is S, which is how FSX and Prepared do it as well. But that means you need to go into the sim and unbind everything so you don't get conflict. So I just set all these things up as buttons. So button 1, button 2, button 3, go up here, I don't know what that is, button 20, and then 4, that should be 4 I think, no, 10, but you get the idea. Why are they 10s and 13s? Number pad, there's button 4 over there, button 5. Because I was using this with Easy Dock, this is set up as number pad 2, so that I could switch in and out of edit the view mode. That's all there is to it. The only other thing I do is on the side view, you can assign these two buttons here. So F12 I tend to always have set up. It's a big chunky button you can just find in a hurry and smack. I set that up as recenter track IR. So if everything else, it doesn't matter what joystick or yoke or anything that I'm using, I can just smash that big old button on the side of the Orbweaver there and reset my view. This one is F9, which is pause my view. So those two are track IR buttons. And then this, I leave this as joystick buttons. Again, you can see buttons 6, 7, 8, and 9 there. And then in Chase Plane or in Easy Dock, I set button 6, for example, to be moved forward, and 7 to move back, and 8 to move left, and 9 to move right. That's all there is to it. The other things I have, these two buttons here, buttons 4 and buttons 5, tend to be raise up and lower down. So lift the camera up, drop the camera down. So with those two buttons and the things on the side, I can pretty much put the camera wherever I want. The only thing I can't do with this is tilt, but I notice I'm not using these buttons here. I could very easily set these up as tilt. I could set another key map actually in here for camera editing, and I could even make these side buttons be tilt. That'd be kind of cool. So that's it. That's all there is to it. It's very, very simple. Just create a profile, click on the plus sign, give it a name, assign everything as a button. and then go into chase plane and say button 1 is this, button 2 is this, button 3 is this, and so on and so on. Anyway, let's go. I need to figure out why my simulator is stuttering. Some of you will have seen in recent videos of mine some weird frame rate stutters, and I think I've done some research. I'm not an expert on all the settings in FSX and Prepared, by the way. Many of you seem to think I am. I'm not. I go through trial and error as much as you guys do. It's just I kind of have to have a bit more patience than many of you because of the YouTube videos. But I manage my sim with SimStarter NG. I need to update this. So let's go into Prepared here. This is SimStarter NG. Okay, and what it does is it manages starting up the sim and setting the configuration of my sim and all the external programs I need to run. So when I run this, it's going to run a bunch of programs and then it's going to run the sim. And the research that I did said that in my sim config set here is where you manage the simulator's preferences, that I actually need to have, they're saying VSync on, triple buffering on, and lock the frame rate, which I didn't think was necessary because I do all that through NVIDIA Inspector, but we'll try it. So I'm going to turn that on. I normally get about 40 to 60 frames per second. I'm going to drop it down to 30. So hopefully that gives the simulator a lot more time to figure stuff out. So having done all that, we'll save the config set. Yes. Okay. Click on OK. Save the profile, and now I can start my sim. And you'll see what I mean about the run set. Let me show you the run set here. I call this Active Sky 16 run set, but it's really not, because SimStarter NG now supports Active Sky 16. But what it does is, look, it fires up NVIDIA Inspector, and then it waits for me to say I'm done. It fires up the Ablesoft EFB, because you guys want fully loaded videos. So I use the Ablesoft EFB for those, and then it fires up Prepared. And there's a lot of other stuff it does as well. So if we go into Clean Desk configuration here, you can see that what happens is I've got a bunch of programs always running. My Garmin to manage my motorcycle GPS, Steam, Dropbox, they all get killed before the sim starts. I can add more stuff in here as well, like OneDrive Sync and all that kind of stuff. I just don't. See, I'm not running very much at all right now. Anyway, we'll click on Run Profile, and you'll see the eruption of applications that happens as soon as I do this. Watch. So this has moved onto a separate window. Hang on, let me pull everything back. So there's NVIDIA Inspector, and you can hear in the sound that Active Sky just fired up. There's the updates I was telling you about. Let me bring up, I can't move SimStarter back over here. So I'm going to go into NVIDIA Inspector here. I have a profile that I use for Prepared. And it is very much based on Ryan's profile at PNDG. So I'm going to change this here to Prepared. There we are. And what I have here, I have anti-aliasing, override whatever the app does. Always override whatever the app does. Now I run a GeForce GTX 1080, so I can put my anti-aliasing setting crazy stupid high, 32XS, which is fine. Anti-aliasing, 8 times sparse grid super sampling, but up here, look, there, triple buffering is on, vertical sync is on, and what I just read says that I should do those actually in the sim, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we'll try it. I'm going to turn this down to that, which is use the application setting. My triple buffering, I'm going to turn that down to, we'll just leave that off. Vertical sync, I'm going to say use application setting. Vertical sync tear control, I think I need to leave that as adaptive. We'll see. Click on apply changes, apply. I don't trust this thing. Quite often you'll click apply changes and there's no feedback that it happens, so I tend to smash that like 10 times just to make sure it's actually saved everything. And when I'm good to go, there's actually another window here that's come up saying click OK. So if I click on OK, SimStarter NG will continue doing its thing, which is to start the sim. There we go. There's the Ablesoft EFB. That just fired up. Here comes Prepared. SimStarter's finished doing what it does now and is waiting patiently for me. Now, the first time I run Prepared every day, it takes a while. I don't know why. I guess, well, I do know why. It loads a lot of data in. And then subsequent executions go a lot faster. This is the first time I've run this today. This isn't a prepared video. Ha! Prepared. I didn't pre-plan this or script it or anything, so I'm going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait. I'll probably cut the video here. I'll see you when Prepared's ready to go. Alright, so the sim's ready to go. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm not going to set the date and time and change the airport and change the aircraft. We'll go with stock. I just want to jump into Chase Plane's sort of dramatic, cinematic mode and see if I have that weird stuttering going on. So I'm going to click on OK, And now we have an interminable wait. Again, it will probably take a little while. I'll be back. Hang on. Alright, the sim is loaded. GSX is doing its thing and updating the airport cache, which is going to take a while. Let me see if chase plane's working. There it is. Let's see if we get that nasty stuttering. Kind of a weird angle for chase plane to fire up. It's actually pretty hard to visually tell if it's even stuttering at this point. In a second, chase plane will change the view, and then we'll get a better idea, I think. I need a further out sweeping view. Might need to choose a bigger aircraft. Here we go, this is a better view. Let's see what this does. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I don't know about you guys. That all seems good. I'll wait for GSX to finish, then I'll load up one of the other bigger aircraft and see if that's affected at all. Bit of a foggy day here in wherever the hell this is. England. The stuttering was, let me grab the mouse here, I'll show you. It would like go draw, stop, stop, which on the forums people are calling micro stutters. And there are various myriad of hundreds of tweaks and config changes you can make, which people variously recommend this is the perfect solution to micro stutters. You know, the thing with tweaking prepared and FSX is there is no one solution to every problem. There really isn't. So these people are actually all correct. Some people have found by changing this and changing that it works for them. On my system, on prepared, you know, I used to tweak the snot out of FSX. On prepared, I try not to. In fact, I recently had terrible frame rates for the longest time in prepared, like sub 20 frame rates, really bad. And my solution was actually to delete prepared.config in you know, prepared's main configuration file and let it rebuild itself. And after it rebuilt itself, everything was absolutely beautiful and perfect. So I try not to tweak too much. There we go. The GSX thing has finished doing its thing. So let's go up here and we'll load a new vehicle. Select. Let's load something that I know had stutters before. I know the stutters are not related to the aircraft, but I know that I've had them with this aircraft. So A2A's Connie, which I'm going to do videos on, by the way. I've read the manual a couple of times on this. I'm looking forward to actually flying it, which I've not done yet. You're going to hear the career mode kick in a second. There you go. Good morning, Captain.
Career mode off.
Oh, no, career mode off.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Heidi.
Captain, when we land, we'll be in the lounge if you wish to stop by.
Oh, fabulous. Got a date. Okay, let's go outside and see if this is stuttering. See, this is a much better camera view because you're sweeping that camera around from the nose towards the tail. We should get a better idea of whether or not we have the stutters. And I do believe that fixed it. I really do think that fixed it. So turning off VSync in NVIDIA Inspector, which was kind of a requirement of FSX, turning that off, turning off pre-rendered frames, dropping the frame rate in Prepared to 30 and locking it. No, that's not being too bad at all. That's pretty good. Now, Scott Gentile at A2A is going to kill me for doing this, but another way to measure if you got the stutters is to just take this aircraft, throw it up a couple of thousand feet in the air and let go, which is not the ideal way to fly such a majestic old lady as the Constellation here, but that's what I'm going to do. So let's jump into the flight deck here. A2A synthesized crew is going to get very upset. Press the Y key. Whoops. Go back and no, I've completely messed up my views now. What the? Oh, because I went external. There we go. Press the Y key. Puts us into slew mode. F4, 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 F4. Which is not ideal with all this cloud here, actually. Not going to be able to see anything except cloud. We'll try it. Keep going. So we're at 10,000 feet now. 11,000. 12, 16. Oh, gosh. No, 12,000. There it is. And when you're up to the appropriate height, now I don't have any controllers plugged in, so no yoke, no joystick, nothing. Press Y. Oh! Good job career mode's not running. Now we can pop outside and see what's going on. Let's pull the gear up. No, the gear's not going to come up. But this is a good way of actually measuring the stutters, I find. Just grab the aircraft, throw it up in the air. Don't bother doing pre-flight or anything nonsense like that. Just throw it up in the air and see what happens. And you know what? So far, I'm just looking at the movement here of the nose on the clouds. That's going really, really well, isn't it? Oh, oh, upset passengers. What a beautiful aircraft, though. Let's go outside. There we go. There's the cinematic pan around. Not sure why, by the way, Prepared is doing this. I get this weird banding effect. Early morning, late afternoon. On the sky. I need to look into that next. But I think we got it. We'll wait for the camera to change one more time. See what happens. But yeah, that's Froogle's tips, right, for optimizing your sim, especially Prepared. If you're having major performance problems in Prepared, find prepared.config. It's on my computer, // users, I think, Pete, and then app data, roaming, Lockheed Martin Prepared. There's a p3d.cfg file, delete it. It wipes out all your key bindings, so you need to rebind all your keys after you've done that. But I find that to be the #1 way to resolve problems with performance in Prepared. Prepared is actually pretty slick in how optimized it is. I don't have any other tweaks really on Prepared. As you saw, I just was turning tweaks off now to stop this micro stutter problem. So turning off NVIDIA Inspector and letting the sim do its thing seems to have resolved my problems. Let's press Shift Z. Pop up my frame rate. Yeah, it's locked at 30 and I'm getting 30, and it's just holding pretty rock solid at 30. The frame rate counter, by the way, in the sim is really unreliable. It's showing really the sim rate as opposed to the frame rate, but that's fine. The NVIDIA Experience software will put a frame rate counter down the bottom, which is a much more reliable indication of the frame rate, and I'm sure if I were to turn that on, which I'm not going to do right now, it would show 30. Look, this is moving ever so nice. There you go. How Froogle solved his micro stutter. It's not going to work for everybody. That worked for me, though. And it seemed to be a common consensus amongst some forum users that this is the way to go. Anyway, pretty non-eventful Froogle vlogs. Just showing you what I get up to on a Sunday morning, which is fix the sim. I have to do that, and then I can go fly the sim. Strangely, today it went pretty well. Normally, it can take an hour or 2 hours to get this thing working. As always, my name is Froogle. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you all very soon.